So about a month ago, I made a video about the Disney Channel original movie, Zombies. Now that movie didn't really make a whole lot of sense, but the basic premise, as goofy as it was, I can get behind it. But anyway, just a week or so ago, Disney gave us the sequel to Zombies with the very clever name Zombies 2. And now we finally get to see what's been going on with Addison and Zed and all the other characters who don't have their own coloring books. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to assume that you've either seen the first movie before, or you saw my video, or maybe you just don't care either way, whatever.
Welcome back to Seabrook, where belonging is everything.
We're a strong, united, and tight-knit community. And that's a good thing, because it wasn't always this way.
So yeah, thanks to all the zombie dancing at the end of the first movie, all societal problems have been solved and everyone's best friends now because I guess this world just follows the Bring It On rules. But that's when we get the new twist.
Legend has it that when the first settlers came to Seabrook, they found wild beasts with sharp claws lurking in the forest.
Wait, hold on a second. Like back in the first movie, right? The whole idea was that Seabrook was this utopian paradise until the zombies came or whatever, right? But then this movie, first thing's like, ha, just kidding, there's been demon monsters here the whole time. I mean, Disney Channel's just over here trying to make their own Riverdale, I tell you what.
Seabrook settlers bravely fought off the monstrous attack and discovered a powerful energy source. Realizing they discovered a precious resource, they safeguarded it from the beasts.
So yeah, there you go. Just a whole bunch of zombies extended universe lore for you, I guess. But anyway, so after this, in present day, once again, we meet our old buddy Zed the Zombie, and he explains what his new life in Seabrook is like.
Seabrook is getting rid of all of its old anti-monster laws. So now, Zombie Town is open to everyone. Hey.
Mine!
Wait.
Hey!
What's up, Coach?
Cauliflower brains mocha crunch, please.
You got it.
Seabrook has way more flavors than just vanilla now. I'll take a vanilla, Coach. What? I like vanilla.
I mean, yes, clearly. Then we flash sideways over to Addison real quick with her cousin Bucky at cheer camp. Something we learn here is that Bucky wants to run for school president, and this means he won't be the cheer squad captain anymore, even though that was what his entire character was about. So why is he doing this? I have no idea. Who could possibly know?
I've decided to be school president this year. Now, technically there's an election, but come on. We'll need a new cheer captain while I rule the school. Who's worthy to lead?
We need a captain that's gonna build a united squad. Someone like Addison.
Thanks, Bree. Being cheer captain has always been my dream.
You know, probably my favorite thing about the Zombies movies is how they break the fourth wall at just the most random times, as if apparently I've just been silently standing here this whole scene like some kind of serial killer. But anyway, finally, the movie gets going. So Addison's on her way back from cheer camp, and Zed sets up this Home Alone-style Rube Goldberg machine to ask her to the prawn. Did you get it? It's like the prom, but it's shrimp. But one mishap leads to another, and Zed makes the bus crash into the forest. Now, despite having a life-threatening concussion, I assume, Addison runs out to go find Zed.
Who's there? Zed? Who's there? Hello? Zed?
That's right, everybody. We've got werewolves now. It's been 12 years since Twilight came out. We're still doing this, huh? Also, quick shout out to whoever this is, because you are just giving that 110% right there. Now, long story short, because Addison saw this one girl go, this is apparently proof enough that the forest is full of werewolves and not just a couple weird kids out there doing, you know, whatever weird kids do. But anyway, so just like that, the entire town of Seabrook starts freaking out.
Mom, Dad, everything is fine.
It's not fine. There are werewolves circling us right now, waiting to attack.
And I'm way too tasty. I'm always looking like a snack.
Hold my purse.
By order of City Council, effective immediately, all anti-monster laws are reinstated.
Now what this means is that zombies can't go to the prawn anymore, which is clearly the bigger issue here.
So the anti-monster laws are in effect again, which means
Zombies can't go to prawn.
but we're gonna fight this, Zed.
So the thing about these anti-monster laws is, I guess they only affect the prawn dance thing or whatever? Because I mean, everybody still goes to school together, zombies out walking around, no problem, nobody cares. So like, huh? Anyway, as you can probably imagine, Addison and Zed really want to find a way that they can go to the prawn together. And this leads to Zed's master plan to run against Bucky and be school president.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zed, and I am running for president. Yeah.
Zed can't steal my spotlight.
The first ever zombie president. I will allow zombies to go to the prawn. I will take Addison as my date.
But right as he's giving his little speech, all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, the werewolf kids burst into the room because, funny story, the night before, they all snuck into Seabrook High School so they could ambush everybody. And lucky for them, the school has no locks or security of any kind whatsoever. It's like the Descendants Museum of High Schools.
Wolves, stand down. We werewolves so admire your town, and we just came here to join your school.
They can't join our school.
Technically, the Forbidden Forest is within the school district.
So, welcome to Seabrook!
I mean, Addison is so weird. Hello, we are werewolves with poliosis. We've been living in the forest for 500 years and consider all of you our sworn enemies. Can we join your school? Well, I have no follow-up questions. Come on in. But like, remember back in the first movie how zombies going to the same school as humans was like this huge deal or whatever? And in this movie, just like 15 minutes ago, everyone was freaking out because there might be werewolves in the forest. The mayor declared martial law, locked all the gates or whatever, and then 2 scenes later, they make them students at their school because they asked?
Disney Channel movies, they don't always make sense.
Now, as the movie goes on, we meet the 2 main werewolves, Wyatt and Willa, and we start to learn a little more about these kids and what they're all about. So they have these necklace things that give them like their werewolf powers, I guess?
We're nothing like you zombies.
You sort of are. Your necklace is powered, right? Kind of like an organic Z-band?
That necklace keeps you from fully wolfing out?
The opposite. Our moonstones make us our true werewolf selves.
And something else the werewolf kids keep talking about is this thing called the moonstone, which is really important to them and like part of their history or whatever. And maybe it can help us figure out why these kids are wearing clothes made out of wolf skin and hair. Because if you think about it, that's kind of messed up. I mean, that's like if I was walking around with a jacket made out of like my ex-girlfriend or something.
Lies! These history books claim werewolves attacked Seabrook settlers, but they struck first and stole our moonstone.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
There's a lot you don't know.
I know the alarm's gonna go off if you don't check out those books.
What was that? She just took a couple books out of the library and it's like, ba-da-bap. Now, no one can read 101 Steve Urkel love tips and tricks except for me. Ba-da-bap. Anyway, so Zed is still trying to get enough votes to defeat Bucky. Addison's trying to become the new cheer captain, just in case Bucky wins. No offense, Zed. And if that wasn't enough, now they got these werewolf kids just showing up and dancing their way into the middle of everything.
Yeah, that scruffy, super handsome, fine-smelling Wyatt is really into Addison.
You got something you want to share with the rest of the class, Eliza? But anyway, so this Wyatt guy over here seems to have a little something for Addison, you know what I'm saying? And Zed's feeling kind of insecure about it because, like, how is anyone supposed to compete with a guy who lived in a forest his whole life and looks like this? But if I watch Netflix all weekend and forget to take a shower, I just turn into... I mean, come on, how's that even fair?
Zed! What's wrong?
Werewolves. They're not interested in fitting in.
They're into cheer.
No, they're into you, and you're into him. Them.
What?
What? I'm sorry. That was just the most inappropriately intense what I've ever heard.
No, they're into you, and you're into him. Them.
What?
I don't like the new guy, but I think maybe you have a crush on him.
What?
Anyway, so the fight continues.
I'm trying to win an election for my people. For you. So we can go to prom. So we can be accepted.
That's not being accepted.
That's being afraid to show who you really are.
Says the girl who wore a wig her whole life.
Because I always felt like an outsider. And even though I might be cheer captain, I still do. You know I don't have a place here.
So we come to find out that Addison's big dilemma, I guess, is that she doesn't feel like she fits in because of her extra blonde hair. I mean, I don't even know how you get out of bed every morning, Addison. Anyway, so this turns into a huge fight and Addison sings a song about how no one can truly understand the struggles of being a pretty blonde girl. And later that night, now that Addison's all emotionally vulnerable, guess who shows up to say hello?
Come with us.
What's so important?
You are.
And that's when we learn the shocking truth that no one could have possibly ever seen coming. I mean, trust me, you're gonna want to sit down for this one. So, turns out there's this prophecy about an all-white-haired werewolf alpha thing, whatever, that's supposed to lead the werewolves to find the moonstone. And Addison is, allegedly, supposed to be that person. And so, of course, they all do some of that good old singing and dancing, and now, for some reason, Addison looks like one of those girls who comes back from Burning Man for the first time and, like, tries to read your aura or whatever. And then she has to make an important decision.
For centuries, this has been set aside for the great Alpha.
A fully charged moonstone is priceless to us, Addison.
If you're truly one of us, when you put it on, you'll be transformed into a werewolf. Part of our pack. Forever.
Can I think about it?
And so, just like that, she takes the necklace and goes home. So the next day, Addison doesn't change her clothes or take a shower, apparently, and her mom and dad now have to go through every parent's worst nightmare when their little girl falls for an emo kid, and the next thing you know, it's all just eyeliner and My Chemical Romance and stacks of notebooks full of just the worst poems you'll ever read. But anyway, later on, Addison meets up with Zed and tells him that she's decided to stay a werewolf, and it's not just a phase, Mom! But Zed secretly steals her necklace out of the box, so for now at least, she has to stay a little old frumpy-dumpy Addison.
I'm ready to become a wolf.
If you really are one.
It's gone.
You lost it? Do you know how precious a moonstone necklace is? If she was the great alpha, she wouldn't have been so careless.
No, I don't know how.
Stay out of our amazing hair.
I mean, just like, why? Anyway, so eventually, thanks to everyone being in the right place at the right time over and over again, the werewolves come to find out that the moonstone is underneath the old power plant.
Yeah, the explosion came from Seabrook Power.
They must be testing charges for the demolition tomorrow. Seabrook Power was fueled by a mysterious energy source. That could be your moonstone, right?
And so the werewolves head on over to stop the demolition and save the moonstone using their cool werewolf powers. Nope, just kidding, we're dancing again. Oh, and now the cheerleaders are here too. And there's the zombies. Okay. But like, no joke here, there's gotta be at least 25 minutes of this movie that got cut somewhere, because first everyone's scared of werewolves, then the werewolves join the school just randomly one day. Addison might be the destined werewolf leader, they find the moonstone, and then Addison and Zed are like, we should help the werewolf kids, and the whole school has an instant change of heart for whatever reason, and they're all like, yeah! You know, watching this movie is like trying to explain a dream you had after you took a little too much melatonin, you know what I mean? Anyway, so thanks to the magic of elbow jabs and foot stomps, the power plant is saved. After this, Zed gives Addison her necklace back, and now she can fulfill her destiny and be the true leader of the werewolves.
You're beautiful, Addie.
What was that? Was so sad.
You're beautiful, Addie.
Well, just spit in my face, why don't you? But yeah, so turns out Addison is not a werewolf, and she bought all this eyeliner for no reason. Story of my life, I tell you what. But then, right after this, you'll never guess what happens.
Boss, we got a problem. What? The remote shorted out, and now the detonation timer's running.
No!
So, there you go, kids. The moral of the story is, life sucks. Tell your friends. And then the very end of the movie, all of which happens in the span of like 3.5 minutes. It's the night of the prom, and the werewolves and zombies decide to show up anyway because
breaking rules is super cool.
Anyway, so during the prom, would you believe there's another explosion from the power plant that opens up a cave that leads directly to the moonstone? Wow, what are the odds of that? And everyone comes together to save it, and they all learn the same lesson they learned back in the first movie already again. So, oh boy, real glad we did this. Yeah, so this movie makes about 0 sense. Like, it's not even just a couple plot holes here and there, just the whole thing is bafflingly nonsensical. Like, they go through all the trouble of introducing all these new characters, but then we learn nothing about them and have no reason to care about anything they're doing. And I mean, the werewolves could have been pretty cool, but like, all they do is just... But all the same, just like with Descendants, I think the world they built definitely has potential, but this is what we got. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. So Zed does a rap battle with Bucky, and then Addison's necklace messes with his wristband, and Zed turns into a zombie. And then the whole school is like, oh my goodness, it's a zombie. And so Bucky wins, and now he's the school president. You know, just in case you're like really invested in the story, there you go. You know, something about this movie that I thought was like interesting or whatever is how Addison's whole thing throughout this movie is that she feels like she doesn't belong, she doesn't fit in with anyone or anywhere, and she feels like an outsider. And yet, throughout this movie, multiple times, the entire school just does whatever she says, right? Like when the werewolves are like, I want to join your school, and Addison's like, okay, come on in. Everyone else is like, well, I mean, Addison said it's okay, so I guess it's fine. And then later on, the werewolves are trying to stop the demolition or whatever, and then Addison's like, we need to get the whole school involved, and the whole school's like, okay. Addison sings a song and has this whole thing about how she feels like she doesn't belong anywhere, but everyone just does whatever she says. So I don't know what's going on with you, Addison. Seems like it's all in your head. But you know, something about this movie that reminded me of Descendants besides a lot of things, but Zombies 2 feels like it's aimed at such a younger audience than the first one was. And like Descendants 2 was the same way, where Descendants 2 came out and they had the talking dog and just like suddenly everyone was acting way more immature than they usually did. And with Zombies 2, it's the same way. It's like, you know, everyone's 2 years older. I mean, the actual characters in the movie, I'm not sure how much time is supposed to have passed, but Zombies 1 came out, 2 years ago. And so now everyone who liked the first movie is 2 years older. The characters are somewhat older than they were before, I assume, because that's how time works. And yet everyone acts like 4 or 5 years younger than they were in the first movie. I mean, of course, no one expects a Disney Channel movie to be like this, mature, like, movie that really makes you think about stuff, man. I'm not expecting that. Going back and doing some of the older Disney Channel movies from like mid 2000s to like 2011 or 12 or so, they used to have movies that were perfectly watchable and that were definitely aimed at teenagers. And then for some reason, just the last, few years or so, everything just was suddenly aimed at like way younger than what it's supposed to be. It's like all the characters are supposed to be 16, 17 years old, and they all act like they're 10, But whatever. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell so that you don't miss any videos from me. Follow my dog Charlie on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. And above all else, everybody have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.